Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Andrew, aka the Black Dragon. This is Black Dragon Studios, and I'm back with another episode of Raid Shadow Legends. In today's video, you see it right here beside me. I've got a new champion to build out today, Dutchess Lilitu. This was a really good CVC for me. I picked up this Duchess out of a random shard. I don't know how to explain this one to you guys, but I'll just give you guys a little backstory on how I did get Dutchess. This is my first Duchess, my first iconic reviver. This is definitely one of the OG revivers. This was a platinum tier quality reviver back in the day. I'm not sure if she still gets used in Platinum Arena to this day, if really at all, but this is still a very good champion to have. Still a top tier Arena champion, top tier Hydra champion, and just a top tier progression champion. The earlier you pull this champion on your account, the better it's going to be. But even if you pull this champion as a late game player, you can still benefit a great deal from a Duchess. So that's basically what the video is going to be about today, is just building out the Duchess. I was about to put gear on her. I had already farmed her masteries. I still don't have books for her. I literally just pulled her last night. And I just used my books on the Mad Hatter. Shout out to Mad Hatter, one of the best champions in the game. I'll be doing a video on Mad Hatter at some point. But this was just kind of an impromptu thing. I had no plans to make a Dutchess Lilitu video ever, let alone today. But I was just about to throw gear on her, and I said, you know what? Why don't we just make a video out of this? Because I haven't done a raid video in God knows how long. I've been tied up with the other game that I've been posting about. You guys can go check that game out as well. I'm sure you'd like it. If you're into this kind of a game, then that's kind of a similar game in a way. You get to build out heroes, you get to collect stuff, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, just a little side game that I play in my spare time for Raid, besides Raid. And Raid is still my main game though. Raid will always be my main game. So this champion here, I've been looking to get my hands on since I started playing the game. Like I said before, has definitely lost a little bit of her value with the inception of Starsage Galathier. She's definitely lost a lot of what she used to do in Arena because of Starsage Galathier just being able to do what she does plus more and then some, right? But anyways, needless to say, she's still a high value champion. And if you're an OG player like me, there's this nostalgic feeling that I got when I pulled her. It was almost like surreal, the surreal energy that I felt before pulling the shards. I was talking to members of my clan, and I was just like, guys, I know it's not a 2x, and I know there's absolutely no reason to pull all these shards I have right now, but I just have this weird gut feeling that there's something in these shards, but I need to pull them like right now. And I don't ever do this. Like, I'm usually the type of person to just save my shards, wait for an event, you know, not really interested in pulling shards ever really. But just something told me to pull shards. They ended up agreeing with me, say, okay, just pull the shards. Let's see what happens. So I pulled the shards and boom, she popped out on like I think it was my second sacred shard. So I'm very happy about that. Very, very happy to build this Duchess out. But first, let's take a look at her kit. For those that don't know, she's got a 19% speed in all battles aura. She's got a passive, which is quite insane, and what used to make her one of the best champions in the game for Arena. Still one of the best champions in the game for PvE. Decreases the damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks by 25%. And 15% from bosses. So she's going to mitigate your AoE damage by quite a bit with the Ethereal Waves passive. Very, very solid passive. And when you pair it with this Spectral Rebirth on a 4-turn cooldown when fully booked, we've got Spectral Rebirth. Revives all dead allies with 70% HP. This is already one of the best revives in the game just because they get 70% HP. no turn meter, but 70% HP is still really good. When you pair it with places a Veil buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. And also places a 15% continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. So essentially they are getting a 100% heal with this revive. So it's on a 4-turn cooldown instead of 3. It should be overpowered if it was on a 3-turn cooldown, maybe so, but with the power creep in the game today, honestly, I think Dutchess kind of deserves a buff. If you're talking to me about it, and I need to make this a 3-turn cooldown, and she'd go right back to being one of the top tier revivers in the game again. And then she's also got Shroud of Souls, which is on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. This is one of the best skills in the game. I just want to say that before going into it. Places a block debuffs, increase attack, and perfect veil on this on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. But she also gets the block debuffs and the increase attack. So everybody gets that. Teammates get the perfect veil. It's a really insane concoction when you consider the fact that the Mastery Lasting Gifts has a 30% chance to increase the duration of any buff cast by this champion by 1 turn. So there you have that. So, I mean, there's not many champions doing this in the game, actually. In fact, if you want to be real specific, there's no other champion other than maybe, like I said before, Star Sage Galathier, who just recently came out as a mythical champion and very inaccessible to most players. In fact, even Dutchess now, if you don't have a Dutchess now, she's going to be incredibly difficult to obtain because of the amount of champions that they brought into the game. So, if you pulled a Dutchess recently and you got lucky like me, congratulations. You definitely pulled probably a hard carry for most areas of the game on your account. Just with that 19% speed aura is going to be so useful in just about every area of the game. Even in Siege, she's still a really, really good Siege champion just because of that 19% speed aura. But no other champion in the game really is providing a Revive All with 70% HP, Veils, and continuous heals, and then block debuffs, increased attack, and perfect veil. So your champions are essentially going to be veiled the entire time, which mitigates... What does a perfect veil do? A perfect veil mitigates 20% of the damage that your champion would take. It's just a straight up 20% damage mitigation, as well as your champion actually can't be targeted. So if your champion has a perfect veil on them, they can't be targeted by skills that only target a single ally. So it's very, very useful when all of your teammates have a veil on them, and Dutchess is the only one that doesn't have a veil because she's going to be 5 times tankier than every single other champion on your team. I can guarantee you that. She's one of the most tanky champions in the game and used to be one of the hardest champions to kill in the game before they started bringing in all these champions that could just easily one-shot through Stone Skin and, one-shot any reviver basically in the game. Then the A1, it's just an average A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, places a shield buff on this champion, and then also on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. So, that could be a pretty beefy shield if you max this champion's HP out to, like, say, I've seen people get her HP to around 150k. That shield could be a 15k shield, and then throw that on, like, your nuker or something like that. That's an extra almost 50% HP in some cases. So not a bad look for an A1. It's just an A1, and it damages based off defense. So this is a support-based champion. We're going to want to build this champion with a lot of HP, a lot of defense, a lot of resistance, and a lot of speed. Preferably in Stone Skin, I would think. I'm going to go into my inventory here. I'm not going to use the Hell-Hades optimizer for this one, because I'm pretty good at determining which gear is in my inventory and which is not. So ideally what I would do, I am the Hell-Hades optimizer, okay, for my account. I am that dude. So what I would do with Dutchess, the first thing I want to do is decide, out of all the gear on my account, what's the best gear set that I could probably put on her with no problem at all? And for me, that would be Stone Skin, number 1 primarily. So I'm going to be looking to put her in 4-piece, maybe even 6-piece Stone Skin. So I could use her in Arena, and I can also use her in Hydra. Well, Stone Skin offers all the things that you would want for a Dutchess anyways, besides speed. It's going to give you HP, resistance, defense, Stone Skin buff, 1 turn, 2 turns, and then HP, resistance, and if you happen to get 9-piece stone skin, the value of the stone skin becomes 75% of HP. So essentially this champion could have 300k HP if you get them a 9-piece stone skin. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and recommend 9-piece stone skin because I just don't think I have that good of stone skin on my account, nor would I want that anyways. But let me just think for a second. What could I pair the stone skin with? Even if I was to just do 1 turn stone skin, what gear set am I looking? I'm looking through all the gear sets here to decide which gear sets would be the best. Maybe regen, reflex, bolster. I don't have any bolster though, so can't really use bolster. Righteous, 40 resist plus 10% speed would be okay. Yeah. Protection, if you're building her specifically for Hydra, like primarily for Hydra, I think it would be wise to actually go with a 9-piece protection set. I don't mind this at all, actually, on a champion like Dutchess. You're going to be using her in areas like Chimera, which she's going to shine in, or maybe even Hydra, where those block debuffs and perfect veils are really good if they're protected. So you're also getting 20 resist, 15% HP, 12% speed, more resist, more speed. So that's not a bad option if you don't plan on using her in Arena. But with my account, I think she's going to be really good on my account in Arena because I don't really have any good revivers for Arena in the first place on my account. So let's try to get her in 4-piece stone skin here and then see kind of where we're at. And I'll kind of talk you guys through what I'm looking for here. So I'm just looking for, first and foremost, what I'm looking for is this. I'm looking for speed, HP percent, defense percent, and speed. So if I can get these 4 stats, speed, HP, resistance, and defense on the gear, that'll be the first gear that I put on. There's a piece of gear that Talgor owns that would be perfect for Dutchess. And it's a shield. I know I have many other shields that I could put on Talgor, so we might rip that off Talgor. Now, as you can see here, it's the only thing that's showing up for Stone Skin under those conditions. So what I'm going to have to do next is I'm going to have to take one of those stats off. I think the next most important, the least important stat of all those stats would be defense percent. So let's take off defense percent and see what it gives us. So we do have these nice defense percent boots here that just showed up because I removed defense percent from the substats that are mandatory for the gear that I'm selecting. But I don't know if that'll make Dutchess fast enough. I kind of want her to be minimum 250 speed. So we'll keep that in the back of our mind for now and know that there's some nice stone skin boots. In fact, I might even just rank those up to 12 just to see if they roll any speed. They did roll speed and resistance. That's actually pretty good. What do we got here? Defense. I'm looking for HP percent. I would prefer to put her in HP percent stuff. But let's try that on for now. That's a free chest plate that I have that's available. That's not too bad, but we might have to change that for an HP chest plate. Everything else here is equipped except for this weapon here that's currently on Sandslash Survivor. I don't use Sandslash Survivor at all, so I can actually just borrow that off him, no problem at all. So that leaves us with 1 piece of stone skin gear that we need. Let's take a look. Let's put defense percent back on and remove HP percent and see what that brings us. An accuracy chest. No, see, that's the beautiful thing about Dutchess. One of the rare champions that literally doesn't mean accuracy, so we can just highly spec into the tankiness. What else do we got here? We've got, okay, she's already trying that on. Okay, what else do we got here? Accuracy here. No, I don't really want accuracy, but it does boost up my speed. It lowers my HP, but it boosts my resistance, boosts my speed, which is kind of nice, but we'll keep that in the back of our mind for now. That's not really what I'm looking for. We're just looking for that last piece of stone skin. Let's go into the accessories here. I know I have a lot of stone skin accessories for Demon Spawn because honestly, bro, I've never built out anybody from the Demon Spawn that's even relevant. I had those epic revivers, the Dur, the Hunger, whatever, but I don't believe that I built either of the Mountain Stone Skin. As I'm looking through the equipped Stone Skin gear here, and nothing has been equipped to anybody. There's a resist banner there. I don't know. It doesn't have any. There's a resist banner with speed. This is actually insane because it also has defense percent and HP percent. There's a defense percent ring. Okay, so essentially if I get all the bottom accessories Stone Skin, I could put her in 6-piece Stone Skin. Absolutely no problem by the looks of it. So let's rank this. Let's do it up to 15. I'm not sure that I want to put it all the way up to 16 today because I kind of want to start planning for the next CVC. And as I don't have books for her anyways, it would be kind of pointless to build her fully today. But I will glyph. At the very least, we will glyph. There will be glyphs. So we'll try that on. What do we got here? An attack. I already can just rework this. I know I'm never going to use that. Attack amulet. Defense. Give me some resistance. No, it gave me accuracy. Okay, it gave me no resistance. So I'm going to take a look at this piece here, which does have resistance. Even though it's only a rare, it's actually better because it has resistance on it. And I got a double resist roll. So we are going to go with this instead of that other piece, just because it's Stone Skin. And it gives me an extra, prospectively, 45 resist. I may have rolled that up to 16 by accident. No, I didn't. Once I get this fully glyphed out, it'll have 45 resist on it. So that's a lot better than the other piece, which didn't have any resist on it at all, and it was a legendary piece to begin with. So there's no chance of me ever getting resistance on it to begin with. So, yeah. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Most champions do require a little bit of accuracy, but Duchess, not so much. And again, this is 5-star gear. This is definitely not the best gear, but the fact that it's Stone Skin makes it a million times better. We did roll one roll of speed there, which is really nice. I'm actually going to take this up to 16 just to see what speed it rolls, because that's going to play a great part in how I proceed with the rest of the gearing for this champion. I'm not going to wait for CVC to do this one. Everything else can wait though. And I don't have any of this gear ascended either. So another thing to keep in mind, that this champion will be a lot stronger once fully ascended and the proper ascensions and all that. So she's realistically in 6-piece Stone Skin as we speak. And that leaves us with, we really are just 350 resist, not too bad. 4200 defense, not too bad. The HP is a little low. The defense is a little high. I'm going to be using her primarily for Hydra, secondary for Arena. If you're building her out just for Arena, I would recommend going with as much HP and as little defense as possible. But since I am building her out for Hydra, I don't mind. Like, if I'm going to be using her in Hydra, but I'm also going to be using her for Arena. I don't mind having a little more defense built in there as well. But I really want to get that speed up. We do have the boots, thank God. So I definitely will be using speed boots with this champion. So let's see here. If I go 1-piece protection, what does that give me? 20 resist. Okay, that's an option. Let's keep that in mind. There's really no other sets that would offer me like speed or anything like that. With just 1 piece at this point, I need to go with 2-piece speed, I think. 2-piece speed is definitely an option here. So let's try for that. Let's go primary stats, speed, and take a look at the... Okay, protection is an option, but... So it's 20 resist. Essentially, it would be 45 with an extra 12 speed. That's 45 plus 12, 57 speed when fully ascended. So we're running at like 200 with that, and then an extra 23 resist. So we'll keep that in mind. I know those aren't the best boots ever, but again, like I told you, my account's not stacked like a lot of other people's. Now, if I was going to go for speed boots with resistance, with HP percent, is there anybody, Ugo, and he already has the ascension that I need. and HP percent as well, and 40 some odd resist. So we'd get more resist, but we would lose a bit of speed in the long run. But they would be boots that would actually be good for us. We'll keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind because I want to see what the helms and the gloves are looking like. So for gloves, I'm going to obviously want to go HP percent gloves. And substats, we're looking for speed, resistance. All right, so those are an option. Not the best gloves ever, honestly, but they are an option. Another thing you could do is put her in Immortal, 2-piece Immortal, which is kind of neat. Because then at least you would gain back a little bit of HP every turn. These are actually some pretty decent Immortal gloves. But then I would be losing a lot of speed. I really want to get that speed going as fast as humanly possible. So let's go with those gloves for now. And now let's look for some helmets. So we're going to want speed, HP percent. You mean to tell me that I don't have a single speed helmet with... Okay, you know what? Hide set filters, because that makes it a lot easier to look at. The resistance is fairly high. Let's see if I could just find a speed helmet. I don't really have anything. This is crazy, man. Yeah, I don't really... So there you go. Like, I'm not really stacked as far as speed helmets. That's my main arbiter. I'm not going to take that to put on a Duchess. There is this right here. 233 speed. 412 resist. So there is that. Well, if we went down here to the... What was I looking at before? Was it protection? See, this here has all the stats that I'm looking for. So if I tried this on, took these off, went back over to the speed boots, and let's take a leaf through these here. Defense percent plus resistance on these. Oh, I prefer it to have HP. So then there's these ones here. So this one's going to increase the resistance, increase the HP, but it's going to lower our speed by quite a bit. By 5 speed in total at the end of it when everything's ascended, I think it's going to lower our speed by like 10, which isn't really that good if I was to do it this way. Because if I go ahead and ascend these, I can get 12 more speed, so that's roughly 250 speed. That's pretty much the number I was looking for. And I think this is pretty much capped as far as gear on my account goes. So we'll have her in 6-piece stone skin, but she's going to be going very fast enough to participate in Hydra. She's going to be tanky enough to participate in Hydra and have enough resistance to participate in Hydra. The only thing that she's not going to have is she's not really going to have a lot of resistance for Arena, but that's where the stone skin comes in. And a lot of the debuffs are just going to get blocked anyways with the stone skin. So I think this is... And another thing that I wanted to mention too is that I know the gear on my account, okay? I don't need to go looking through every piece of gear on my account, you know, to be looking through. But I will just tell you guys, in general, regeneration gear, 4-piece regen, 4-piece stone skin would be really good on this champion. 4-piece protection, 4-piece stone skin would be really good on this champion. 4-piece frostbite. If you have any extra frostbite gear, this is actually really good gear. 15% chance to block freeze debuffs plus a 10% chance to place freeze debuff on the attacker, which is really useful. I would actually love to put her in 4-piece frostbite and 4-piece stone skin. Pretty much 4-piece stone skin or 6-piece stone skin plus other gear is the way you want to go with Duchess, in my opinion. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've given you guys some really good ideas for how you can build your Duchess. This is going to be how I build my Duchess. I don't think that I'm taking gear off of a whole lot of champions either that I really need this gear for, so that's another positive. I'm going to use the free gear removal. I'm going to equip that, and I'm going to go right back over here to this Taugor, and I'm going to find... I have a lot of stone skin gear, which is really good. I've been farming the hell out of Hydra. So all I need to do is find him a shield. I have tons of shields. Can I level this up to 16? Yes. I level this up to 16. Yes. Okay, the gods are with us tonight. And we'll put this attack percent on her just for funsies, even though it doesn't really matter. She doesn't need attack percent. Her attack is based on defense. So I just wasted a 6-star glyph on her for absolutely no reason at all. Just, yeah, that was dumb. Let's see if I can get this ascension to speed right off the rip. Right off the ripper. No, I can't. So I'm going to rework it one time. And we got defense. Okay, so I'll have to work on that. I'll have to work on finding that speed for her. And maybe a blessing as well. And maybe a relic. There was a relic. I can't remember who it was wearing it. I believe it was Mithrala. This is the relic that I would probably put on her for now. The best relic that I have on my account. All it is the golden elixir. So wearer is instantly healed by 10% whenever their HP drops below 50%. As well, it got the gemstones. The wearer extra velocity. The wearer's turn meter increases by 3% whenever they fail to place a debuff. Okay, so I'd probably remove that. I would trade that for something else. And turn meter increase effects are 10% more effective on the wearer. So, yeah, that would be really good. I wonder if there's anything in here. Wearer's defense increases by 1% each time they receive damage. Okay, that's not bad. That could work. Gilded Dragonstone could definitely work on a Duchess. And then if you max that, you can get HP, resistance, and extra defense percent as well as leveling it up. Increases your max defense by 2% every time you use it, every time you level it up. So I apologize, I'm misspeaking a lot because I have to focus on moving around the stuff on the screen, plus try and formulate my thoughts to describe what I'm thinking in my head to you guys, as well as reading through some of these things while talking to you guys about the things that I was already looking at before. So I don't really think... Okay, yeah, Demonic Effigy is really nice. On Duchess as well, turn meter increases by 10% whenever one of their allies dies. I have that on Tau Gore right now, but this would be really good on a Duchess. I do like the Gilded Dragonstone on the Duchess, though, because she is so heavily defense-based. Has such good defense that I just think I'll keep that on her for now, just to keep it simple. And then also, actually, wow, yeah, once I get her fully booked, I might move this Demonic Effigy over to Duchess because of this gemstone here. Starting strength, the wearer's resistance increases by 30 until they take a turn. So that's actually really nice. Not bad at all for Arena. And then you've got the Invigorated as well. Turn meter increase effects are 10% more effective on the wearer. So whenever they receive a turn meter increase by someone, like say your Arbiter boosts their turn meter, then they get 10% more turn meter out of that. But yeah, that's really it. I think we'll just keep this Gilded Dragonstone on her. Let's see what kind of gemstones I have. Reflect damage effects and buffs on the wearer deal 10% more damage to enemies. No, I don't imagine so. Let's see what circular gemstones we have here. The wearer gains an additional 30 resistance against enemies attempting to place crowd control debuffs. That's pretty much the same thing as that other one that I was telling you guys about, only it's better as it's lasting for the whole matchup. So this could easily go in here. What else do we have? Accuracy, don't need accuracy. Turn meter reduction effects are 10% less effective on the wearer. Yeah, no, I think we'll just put... This Uncontrollable was like perfect for her because it actually allows her to just gain an additional 30 resistance basically. So against all the nasty debuffs. So that's perfect for her. So after all is said and done, I'm going to show you guys the masteries now. I've shown you guys the build. And now I'm going to show you guys... Well, let's take a look at the blessing that I would put on her. First of all, if you're putting a blessing on this type of a character... Maybe Intimidating Presence. You could go with something like Intimidating Presence to strengthen your team's aura and weaken the defense team's aura. But we could also go with the Temporal Chains as well, which is really nice. What else? Chainbreaker would be pretty good as well, just to make sure that she's getting her turns. Polymorph if using an arena, polymorph is a very, very solid debuff. Yeah, that's really it. Just those ones there is pretty much the only ones that I would consider. You could also consider a lightning orb as well, just to make sure that your stone skin isn't getting removed. The books are pretty important though. I'm not going to say that she's good without books, because she's not. I mean, maybe if you put her in a reflex set or had a cooldown champion like Kymar, she would be really good without books. But other than that, she's definitely going to be worth putting your books into. But as far as masteries go, I think the masteries are pretty cut and dry with her. There's really only one way to go with the masteries, and I think this is it. So basically, we went for resistance with Defiant, down the defense tree into rejuvenation, increases the amount of healing and shields this champion receives. Improved parry decreases the damage received by this champion by 8% when it's hit with a critical hit. So essentially, with that extra passive damage reduction plus this, could be essentially like a 35% or a 22%, 23% damage mitigation, depending on if it's PvP or if it's a PvE. If it's PvP, you're going to get pretty much a 33% damage mitigation on AoE attacks, which is insane. And then you're going to get a straight up 23% damage mitigation against bosses that are critical hitting you, which is really nice. I've also done the Wisdom of Battle Resurgent combo. So Resurgent, whenever this champion loses 25% or more of their max HP from a skill, then they have a 50% chance to remove one random debuff from this champion. And then as well here, has a 30% chance with Wisdom of Battle of placing a block debuff for one turn when Stun, Sleep, Fear, True Fear, Freeze, or Petrification debuffs expire on this champion. So yeah, it's really good to pair with Resurgent. And then I've gone ahead with Solidarity, is the amount of buffs that this champion is going to be placing, potentially 9 buffs or so. What is that? 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 14. So 14 potential buffs with that A2 on this. And if you're in Hydra, it's even more, because you've got 6 champions in Hydra as opposed to 4 champions in Arena, or 5 champions in a dungeon, or Clan Boss, or Chimera. In Hydra, you're going to have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17, 20, 22 or something like that, times 5. So increase ally resistance by 5 for each buff placed on them by this champion with Solidarity. This is insane. Solidarity should be the tier 6 mastery for this champion. This is broken. And then we've gone ahead with the Cycle of Revenge. So we can increase our turn meter by 15% whenever an ally is attacked with a critical hit, which is really nice. And then I've just gone ahead with the support tree, obviously. Down the HP into Shield Bearer, increases the value of shield buffs this champion casts by 5%. Rapid response, whenever a buff expires that is placed by this champion, has a chance of increasing the turn meter by 10%. Into Cycle of Magic, to cycle through those skills quicker and make those skills come back quicker. And then Lore of Steel, so it's going to increase all those extra buffs that we're getting from Stone Skin, the HP percent, the resist, Lore of Steel, the speed from the speed sets. All that's going to be boosted by Lore of Steel. And then obviously we talked about Lasting Gifts before. I don't need to say it again. Spirit Haste increases speed by 8% for each dead ally. Stacks up to 24. And then we've got Timely Intervention. So very clutch with this type of a champion. Whenever this champion's HP drops below 25%, whenever any ally's HP drops below 25%, increases this champion's turn meter by 20%. So that is really, really useful for our Duchess. Let's look at the final stats here. This is just for any area of the game. 68k HP, 5k defense. This champion has incredibly high base defense. Or either that, or I just got some hella bonuses from the artifacts that I just put on her. I mean, this 12, I don't know. Like, I don't really build out defensive champions all that often. Is 1288 defense really all that good? I don't know. I guess we compare her to Valkyrie. We know Valkyrie has one of the highest base defenses in the entire game. So let's take a look at Valkyrie here. Who has 1600 defense, base defense. So Duchess base defense, not even that high, honestly. It's really not. I think it's her base HP that really stands out. Yeah, 20, almost 22.5k base HP. So how I was able to get 5k defense out of this jumbled mess doesn't even have a blessing. Doesn't even have a blessing, dude. 70k HP, 5k defense, 233 speed, 422 resist. Not the best build, but if you spec her in Hydra, 70k HP, 5k defense, 243 speed, 462 resist. You can do Nightmare Hydra with this build. And this is my Great Hall. I'll just show you guys my Great Hall so you guys know this is the Spirit Great Hall. I've got max resist, max accuracy, but the HP and the defense still need a little bit of work done to it. Still working on that. And then my area bonuses, mostly just for Hydra, really. Ignore defense, speed, crit damage, resistance, accuracy. So that's going to do it, guys. That's a lot of information to take in all at once, you guys. But yeah, 4.9s across the board. This is one of the best champions in the game. Always has been, always will be. There's really no chance of this champion ever getting power crept. So I'm going to give her a 5 in arena defense, 5 in Hydra, 5 in... I'm only doing this because I know this champion from playing against it all these years. I know this champion very well. 5 everywhere. It's just a 5 straight across the board. This is a top 10 legendary even to this day. Even though it's been a little bit power crept in arena, you can still use this champion in arena. You're going to get value from this champion in every single area of the game. This champion will carry you through your entire existence of this game. This is one of the best pulls I've ever pulled, and it's unfortunate that it came after playing the game for 5 years. But you know what? Better late than never, and it's more of a novelty for me now than a necessity, but still very happy that I pulled the Duchess. I don't have a lot of progressing left to do in this game besides upping my Hydra scores and upping my live arena battle scores, and this champion will get you to those areas and more. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the build for now, and there's a lot of room for improvement, but it's still good. It's still a decent build. So how do you guys build your Duchess? Did you guys see any builds that maybe I wasn't aware of that I didn't mention in the video that you would put your Duchess in? If so, leave a comment in the comment section below. Drop a sub, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.